cold at the touch, dead in the eyes, no signs of life no more. I put your love under the knife. Leave me to die here all alone. No signs of life no more, no. A crying dove may never fly. Black and white. Yeah. Black and white. Oh. 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 Just black and white. Black and white, just let me go. It's only right for all I know. It's only matter. It's calico. It's black and white. Just let me go. It's only right for all I know. It's only matter. It's calico. It's black and white. White, white, white. Black and white. Yeah. Black and white. Oh. 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 Just black and white. Black and white.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Simracersworld TV and welcome to another round of the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Racing Series Season 4. My name is Chaz Draycott. I'm delighted to have back with me this week Peter MacKay in the commentary box, and we are at one of his very, very favourite circuits. Back at Road Atlanta once again, Peter. Doesn't feel like 10 minutes since we were last here with this championship and had another wonderfully thrilling night.
Well, this circuit really is a thriller, isn't it? At Road Atlanta, some amazing uphill and downdale contours, and a real challenge in any car, particularly in this Porsche 911 Cup machine. And I think it's going to be an absolute corker tonight because, well, we're at the penultimate round of the championship, and it's game on. Three-way fight for it between Tofts, Saruta, and Greatorex. And who's going to come out on top? Well, we just don't know.
We really don't know. There's been a lot of races so far this season that have gone one way and then the other very quickly. See a number of the cars there disappearing as they then suddenly tick over into qualifying. Some of the red and green tents that you see there in the pit lane is signified by the fact that the drivers haven't painted that part of the livery. Yes, that is something you can paint in iRacing. Now then, we have cars going out on track for the first time tonight. Gregory Buttsworth has sat in the pit lane for just a second and is about to get rolling. But this circuit, like you say, Peter, very, very tricky indeed. What is it in particular that makes this track such a challenge here?
Well, there's a couple of things. I think one thing is the way that you get the car to ride over the curbs. I mean, just where Gregory's coming up now is a good chance at a slower speed to see just the sheer elevation change and watching how the car reacts over the curbs, and then you swoop your way down the hill. And again, it's very easy to get the car unsettled and out of shape. The other thing about Road Atlanta is there's really not a great deal of room for error. If you get it wrong, the wall is waiting for you. It's not a modern Grand Prix circuit. This is not. This is so typical and classic of an American sports car racing circuit. And oh, don't we love it for it. Of course, home of the Petit Le Mans race that launched for the first time in 1998, which kicked off the American Le Mans series, which was the brainchild of Dr. Don Paynos, who really brought this circuit to the level that it is today. It really was in quite a sad state when he got it. But when you invented the nicotine patch, I mean, you've got the funds to bring it up to scratch.
Well, that's the thing, mate. That is the thing. It's all about whatever business you're in and where you make your money. As long as you've made your money, that is it. Either way, it is a wonderfully, wonderfully unique circuit with a lot of the elevation changes and things that we have. It's not easy to get it right, and everybody, except maybe one or two, currently out on track. But some of the guys that are looking for the title, well, one of them is this man, Jacob Tofts. He's been pretty untouchable at certain race meetings so far this season. He's going to have a lot of competition going into these last few races, but I mean, even at Sebring last time out, Jacob just disappeared up the road, managed the tyres, managed the whole race so beautifully. And it was a real challenge for a lot of the drivers. It was something that they weren't used to doing in this series. Obviously, we usually have our sprint races, but Jacob just made it look so easy as the night went on, and I'm really, really excited to see what he can do now as we get to Road Atlanta. Quite a short circuit as well, actually, isn't it? A lap doesn't take that long around here.
No, it is. It's pretty. It actually surprises you. You think, oh, we're at the end of the lap already. I mean, it's quite deceptive as well with this big, long back straight, which makes setup usually quite difficult because, you know, at this part of the circuit you want a low drag Le Mans setup, and through the other parts of the circuit you really want as much downforce as you could possibly get. So getting that compromise is difficult. But Jacob just looking so neat and tidy on this lap, and neat and tidy is quick. As soon as the car starts to slide, that's when you're really losing time. And Jacob, you're right, he was just imperious at Sebring 2 weeks ago. And yeah, I think he's really been the man with the target on his back, Chaz, hasn't he, throughout the season?
Yeah, I'd say so. You know, coming into this as reigning champion, a lot of pressure to uphold and a lot of honour as well. I mean, he's 8 tenths clear of Christian Saruta at the moment, who of course is one of the drivers that's going to be challenging him for the title. He's pushing forward as hard as he can in the points. Looks fantastic as it comes over the hill there, does Christian's car. Baxter Jones has gone closest out of anybody so far, but nearly 8 tenths down. Top of your AMS is currently Stuart Clark at the moment. He's doing a wonderful, wonderful job in the number 23 machine, a 1:21.383. More and more times going on the board, but I don't know, it's tough to call. Austin's been very consistently quick as well, but a few of his performances have just been, I mean, they've been great, but Jacob's just had that extra 10%, hasn't he, on top of what the other guys can bring to the table, and the rest of them have always just been a few seconds off by the time the races are done.
Yeah, that's definitely been the case. I mean, on one lap pace, Jacob Toft definitely has that edge. But you know, the thing is, it's amazing actually that we're seeing Austin so close in the championship battle. Not because of his pace. Clearly, his pace is excellent, but whatever could have gone wrong for him in the early rounds of the season did so. I mean, got caught up in so many other people's accidents by no fault of his own, but Austin's really knuckled down in the face of that adversity and has hauled himself back up into contention. And it's really, after those first couple of rounds, it's run pretty much a perfect season, and that's got him back into contention for this title. And Austin's been here since day one in the Porsche Club of Great Britain sim racing paddock, right back to the GT4 sprint race at Lime Rock Park. We've got a few of the PCGB lifers in the field still, and Austin is one of them. So he's come close to winning the title a couple of times, but I'm sure he's been... he says he doesn't practice, but I'm not sure I believe him. I think he's been working hard on the sim the last little while.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, a lot of these drivers will be like, yeah, never driven this track before. And you check
rubbish.
check some of the history, and it's like, oh yeah, he's got 385 laps around here. But not just Austin in particular, but you know, we've seen it before where drivers claim to have not done any practice and then they'll disappear away from the pack up the road. But still, fantastic circuit to be at. Byron Crawford currently now fastest in the AMS with a 1:20.596, barely a second off the fastest lap of the session, which is really good going. Stephen Kershaw is second in the AMS with Stuart Clark just behind him. It's been good to see some of these AM drivers really mix it in with the big boys in the pro class this season, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. I mean, that's a super lap time for Byron Crawford, just 1.1 seconds off of Jacob Toth's time, and that puts him 7th overall, quite far ahead as well of Chris Bynum in 11th as well. But yeah, very impressive indeed as Carl Sharkey, James Cummings and Mark Baxter-Jones all improve as it's getting quicker. Jacob Toth, he's thinking, that'll do for me, 1:19.4, half a second ahead. That'll do just fine. Now, Chaz, I don't know if Luke Holroyd has set a time yet, but we need to take a very close look at his helmet.
He's not on track at the moment, but I'm gonna let that sentence slide for now. We're not that deep into the broadcast yet, but I agree. We would like to take a gander.
He messaged me and says, you need to have a good look at my helmet when I'm on air. I said, okay.
Well, you're on air. I'm not sure if he needs to go to EuroGP. But Amrik Sashdev is currently 27th. I particularly remember Amrik having an amazing race meeting here. I'm not sure if I'm remembering the right circuit or not, but I'm pretty sure we saw Amrik do one of his amazing defensive drives in a previous season. Either last time we were here or even the season before in Season 2. But at the moment, obviously with the bigger field we have and such close competition, he's not quite where he'd like to be, is he?
Was it Laguna? I thought it was Laguna.
Yes, it was Laguna. Apologies, yes. It's all the sand. I don't like sand.
It's all sandy. it's over the Atlantic somewhere.
Yeah. So that island.
He's a stateside specialist Sashdev. We'll call him stateside Sashdev.
I like that indeed. He's 2.2 seconds off the top spot at the moment, is Amrik, but he's still pushing it hard, and he's one of the drivers that will use the extra laps here just to get a bit more insight into the circuit. A lot of them do practice. Dan Bathy's quite far down, 15th in his class at the moment, 21st overall in the Sacred Coffee Machine. Certainly not had his double espresso today. Goes way too hot into the chicane. That looks like someone out of practice to me. It's just as I was talking about them practicing, I think Dan maybe has not managed to get as much time in. He gives us a nice show of how pretty the car is. It's a gorgeous livery, but unfortunately that not working for him there. Here's the Mankini car of Mark Elvin. Wonderful, wonderful thing. One of the absolute memes of the championship. Still continues. He needs to put it in the wash with some Ariel, I think. Obviously other detergents are available, but I think he really needs to get that sorted out and get the stains off it.
Yeah, I think it's just take it to one of these £5 cash in hand drive-through hand wash places. They're everywhere. They're around every corner. No excuse for it. Yeah, well, yeah, you don't have they must have them loads around where you are, Chaz.
No, I think they've all been ransacked and vandalised.
Oh.
No, I've never heard of that before.
You just go. They're usually in old disused petrol stations, and you go in and you pay your. Okay, maybe it's not £5 anymore. Maybe it's like £8 or something, and you pay your money, and and your car gets hand washed for you.
Oh, the car. Sorry, I thought I genuinely meant some clothing. I thought you meant there was a drive through like dry cleaners or something.
Hey, there's a business idea.
Hey, there, yeah, no one heard that. Just let's pretend that.
Put them through like the thing you put in at the airport for like the security. Just chuck it on the belt and it's clean when it comes out the other side.
Oh, that would be
genius. We'll be millionaires.
Hey, we should actually. You can have. Yeah, you can contract them out to airports as well. So when people are going on holiday, they're coming back and they've got clean washing by the time they get. Yes.
Oh. What colour are you gonna have your cup car in? I'm gonna have a blue one. What are you?
Miami blue. Jacob Toft takes pole position then. Flipping out. Christian Cerruta is second. Austin Greatorex third. Would you have it any other way? Carl Sharkey is fourth. David Ward is fifth, and Johnny Elia lines up sixth. Then it's Tom Slater and Stuart Clark on row 4. Stephen Haley and Paul Goffin round out your top 10. Dan Bathy and Josh Bailey are on row 6, just ahead of Luke Holroyd and Amrik Sashdev. Oliver Carwadine and Ryan Penny make up row 8, ahead of Michael Rowe and Gregory Buttsworth. Then we have Andrew Soper and Peter Brill, with Ralph Mayer lining up at the back of the grid. So, only one car yet to take to the grid, actually, and it is Mr. Tofts. And boom, there he is. First race of the night about to get underway. Then we've got our 3 championship protagonists right at the front of the field. This is going to get very, very heated indeed, especially as it's the first heat in the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Racing Series tonight. Car doesn't get away. Is that Bathy? No, it's not. Sorry, it's Johnny Elia in the 11/10 car. Cerruta's had a fantastic launch off the line. Gets in front of Jacob Tofts by turn 1. That could be massively important. Stuart Clark is off the road further back down. But wow, oh wow, that's a very important start there. Andrew Soper's up 6 places, certainly an emergency.
Oh yeah, he's in a hurry, isn't he, is Andrew Soper? What a getaway for the driver of the number 72 with the urgent blood delivery. Yeah, that's the man who you want driving that car. But what a start from Christian Cerruta, the former Caterham racer, with a Braun GP liveried Caterham no less, but he's got Jacob Toft right on him. Now watch here though, coming out of turn 7 onto the very long back straight. Jacob Toft is in the perfect position to sit in the slipstream of Christian Cerruta and set himself up for a move on the brakes into turn 10A and B. However, will Toft play this clever though? Because look at Austin Greatorex right behind. Will he try and make the move now, or will he try and break away? Nope, there's your answer. Just blow straight by him with the slipstream. But it's now going to be who's bravest on the brakes. Cerruta goes as late as he dares. Oh, and just tucks it in tight. And Cerruta, whoa, that was very tense.
I was wondering whether he was going to get some sort of slowdown penalty for that there because of how much that he took down the inside. We'll have to have a look and see. Now we need to try and have a look. Luke Holroyd has gone for Brumos colours on his helmet by the look of it. Either that or he's finished painting it and he's not updated it, because I can still see the wireframe on it.
Well, it's I do know that it is indeed a Brumos themed helmet. Because we're running in the VSCA Endurance Championship together in a Brumos tribute livery.
Nice.
So that's where that comes from. So we've all got matching helmets. We're all made sure our helmets are all looking exactly the same and looking very nice too.
Lovely stuff. It's always good to have matching attire, even in the virtual world as well. It really does make you feel as part of a team. Here's Josh Bailey in the wonderful teal machine. I think that's almost kind of like Miami blue as well. Maybe a bit too light actually for Miami blue, isn't it? But he's chasing down Amrik Sashdev for second in the AM class. Gregory Buttsworth just gone off the road. Big drift. Comes back on, loses a bunch of positions, and is actually now last of the cars running. Stuart Clark is in the pits. Now I want to actually have a look at what happened at the start here, because Dan Bathy did go off as well as Johnny Elia. So Johnny Elia doesn't move. Stuart Clark, I think, got damage from that, actually. Yeah, and look at that. He holds up a bunch of drivers. Oliver Carwadine, one of them there. Yeah, Stuart's definitely got something wrong with the car. Tries to get it stopped on the right-hand side. Oh, well played. Well played, Stuart.
That was...
yeah, that noise. That's all you need. Top 5 is as they were at the start of the race, though. David Ward again, consistently quick, consistently up there, just not able to push through as much as we'd expect so far.
Is it me, or do these cars look like they have one of those like Movember comic mustaches on them?
They do.
It just, I don't know. I just cannot get that thought out of my head. And that on that car, it looks like a pig with a mustache.
That's me in it.
Well, is it Mr. What was Homer's pig called in the Simpsons movie?
It's just Spider Pig, isn't it?
Spider Pig. Yes, that's right. It looks like Spider Pig.
And he changes his name to Harry Plopper halfway through.
Harry Plopper.
Phenomenal stuff. Now we've got a bit of a train of cars here, actually. Funnily enough, being led by the emergency vehicle that should be going the quickest out of all of them. Andrew Soper in 14th place overall, 6th in class, has got Oliver Cardine tucked right up behind him, hoping to get some insurance details, I'm sure. Pulls out to the right-hand side in the slipstream. Ralph Mayer's trying to go with him there, using the slipstream well on the right-hand side. Down the hill they go. Oh, is Ralph going to make it? No. Oh, Soper's gone in too hard. So's Oliver Cardine. He tricked him into going with him.
Well, Matmut are a French insurance company, so yeah, they are literally ambulance chasing there. Oliver Carbadine. It's like, have you been in an accident? Call Oliver Carbadine for a no-win, no-fee claim.
An accident that wasn't your fault, that was caused by the car with the insurance company all over it. Tried to put him off down the inside, and he's like, ha-ha. Oh, Soper's gone off again
no.
here. Oh, there's not going to be any. Oh no! He's decided to celebrate his momentous spin, but I think that was more in frustration there by Andrew Soper, don't you?
Yeah, maybe not ask him for an interview later. It might be like drawing blood from a stone.
Potentially so. He did do it on his own, I think. I think just in frustration, he's pushed a bit too hard. Oh wow, that'll be like a 20 pence piece now. That front right tyre, that is done for. But Jacob Tofts isn't. He is currently a third of the way through this first heat of the night, leading the way by just under a second from championship rival Saruta, who is just under a second ahead of championship rival Greatorex.
Yeah, and this is interesting. You know, this is kind of the pattern of what we've seen for these opening 15-minute sprint races. But when we get into the feature race later, of course, if they finish in this order, Tofts would start from 20th, Saruta 19th, and Greatorex 18th. And as we've seen, particularly here at Road Atlanta, with the grid goes halfway up the penultimate corner, basically, around the corner, as we saw, can cause a lot of issues. And it's who will get through that melee cleanly could be pivotal in the outcome of this championship, especially heading into Monza in 2 weeks' time, which, as we know, can be a lottery all in itself.
It certainly is. Certainly is. I cannot wait to get that started there at Monza. That's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. Obviously watched you guys at Porsche Sport Racing there in the Dynamics Endurance Series recently. That was a hell of a lot of fun.
Yeah, pole, fastest lap, and the win. That's what we call the Neville in Porsche Sport.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah, I tell you, Derek did a good job the other day, didn't he?
Yes, Derek.
He made me look good.
Yes, Derek in the Peter was racing in the Christmas special here on Simracersworld TV at the Nordschleife. We did a VLN style race, 2.4 hours of the Nordschleife. And Peter was in his Porsche Derek and did a wonderful job indeed. You got a top 5, didn't you? Was it
sixth? But honestly, I was delirious with that. I mean, among some of all the guys in front of me were, you know, proper top level, and I was absolutely over the moon. I had nothing left. Every lap was perfect. I don't think I even went off track once. That's all. I peaked. I might as well just hang up the keys. I was very happy with myself.
I'm not surprised, mate. You did a hell of a lot better than I would have done. Hell of a lot better. But these cars, like we've been saying, not easy to drive in the slightest. And these guys right now showing us exactly how it should be done, because they are so consistent time and time again, and just almost robotic the way that they meet some of their racing lines, aren't they, some of these guys? This is Luke Holroyd and Dan Bathy, by the way, who are not actually fighting for class position, just overall position on the road. So Luke could quite happily let him go right now, but this is Luke Holroyd. He doesn't want to do that.
Driving very well. I've been seeing some pictures of him practicing over the last few days with lovely baby daughter, Romy, who's been helping him with his practice, and clearly it's paying off because, let's be honest, Luke hasn't been this high up the field all season, so clearly Romy's got a career as a race coach in her future.
Yeah, indeed.
He's not going to like that one. Yeah.
Still, he's been doing everything he needs to do so far. We're over the halfway point of the race. A bit of a battle further down. Oliver Carwadine just on the back of Paul Goffin, then Michael Rowe just ahead of these guys as well. Gregory Buttsworth has unfortunately had an issue. He actually had an ongoing issue, it seems. I think he's gone off track once. Oh, that was contact with... Was that Ralph Mayer? This is where he went off, similar to how he did a few laps prior. Oh, and he's buried it in the wall. You see the nose of the car, almost like a slug, recoils there for a second. And that was a real shame. Just, unfortunately, couldn't get it settled once it had got off the grass again. And that's the thing with iRacing. I mean, people do say that there isn't much grip here on our wonderful sim, but the contrast when you go on the grass to back on the road again, it can really catch you off guard, can't it?
Yeah, actually, I always find that's much more when you just go a bit wide onto the grass. You've really got to watch it when you go back onto the tarmac, because you're right. If you've got two wheels on the grass and two on the tarmac, the car just spins sideways. So yeah, you've got to be really careful with how you rejoin. Hence our shared gasping of breath with who was it? Stuart Clark at turn 1 there, but he did well to keep the car off the road. Oh, a little bit of a lock up there. It's Paul Goffin. Oh dear.
Bit of a moment for Paul Goffin. Sorry, it wouldn't let me click on him then for some reason. We'll have a look back at it. Just on the outside line, just goes a little bit too hot into there, and it is another one of those corners that's really inviting, isn't it, that chicane? You build up so much speed down the hill, and you're trying to make a move on your opponent, but it just doesn't ever work like that, does it? It's so hard to get right.
Yeah, that's a classic Road Atlanta. A little off there, going into turn 10A and B, the chicane. You're going from absolutely, pretty much on the rev limiter in top gear, all the way down to probably second gear in this car. So with no ABS, it's very easy to lock up the tyres. And that's interesting. Michael Rowe doesn't make a great, almost like he let Carwadine go there.
Yeah.
That's curious. What's going on there? Something's not right. Something is not right at all at the wheel of Michael Rowe's car, because Carwadine's gone, and all of a sudden, now who's that behind him? That's
Stuart Clark, a lap down.
Okay, yes, I thought I recognised Stuart's car there. So it's not. You can see Stuart Clark already pulling him in. So that was a bit of an odd one.
Yeah, it seemed it was almost like someone had called the safety car the way all of them went round the two right-handers there. They were very cautious. Well, Michael's seemingly back up to speed now, but just not the same speed as Carwadine, I'm afraid. Luke Holroyd is under pressure still from Dan Bathy at the top of the class, but he is not currently under any pressure in terms of class position, because Amrit Sachdev is second, Josh Bailey is third, and those two are quite close together as well. Jacob Toft's lead now, by the way, all of a sudden is 3.9 seconds. Where's he pulled that out from? How does he do this?
That's relentless. Yeah, that's why Jacob's really been the driver with the target on his back since he came into this championship, let alone before he won his first championship last season. It's just that not only can he put the car on pole with that special lap, he can just repeat those special laps, and that's something that's such a skill. And I watched back the race from Sebring 2 weeks ago, and it was incredible, wasn't it, Chaz? How not only did he have fantastic pace, he was just, the difference was he could just drill that lap time out over and over again. It's mighty impressive. He's quite a special talent, is Jacob, and all while doing your A-levels. Quite extraordinary.
Yeah, it's pretty mad, to be honest, isn't it, that people can do that sort of thing and still concentrate on the real life stuff like that. It's one of the the most testing times of your life going on outside of the sim. It reminds me as well of people like the Robertson brothers in the Apex Racing team, Jake and John Robertson. They were going through their exams and so on while they were competing for the iRacing Rallycross World Championships, which John went and won. It's just absolutely crazy. I mean, I could barely concentrate on the exams themselves, never mind doing that and being a world champion at something. It's pretty bonkers.
And I mean, the level of preparation required now to compete at any level in iRacing, let alone at the World Championship level like that, you're right, it's just extraordinary. Absolutely extraordinary. Now, this is interesting for championship implications. Saruta's safe with about a minute and a half to go. But Greatorex is not. He's got Carl Sharkey all over the back of him. And also David Ward not too far behind as well. We've seen... I'm getting a flashback. I'm getting a proper deja vu moment here. This is a flashback to the 12 Hours of Snetterton charity race in May 2020, where Austin, in fact, the positions were reversed actually. Carl was in front in his Cayman GT4, and Austin must have been behind him for about an hour, and he just could not get by. Now, will we see the roles reversed here? We shall see, but that's a proper deja vu moment there.
It's just opened up a bit of a gap at the start of this lap as well, actually. Yeah. If anything, David Ward is now closer to Carl, so more danger for Carl than anybody else in this battle. But 1st to 5th and then 7th are all where they started this race. Stephen Haley, just behind this, has made 3 positions worth of progress. He's currently into 6th position. He's got Tom Slater behind. Bit of an under-the-radar performance by Tom so far. But we're not far now, surely, off starting the last lap, are we?
Talking of under-the-radar performances, round of applause for Amrik Sashdev, 10th overall and 2nd in the AM class. What a drive. Stateside Sashdev does it again.
He does indeed. He's really opened that gap up to Josh Bailey now as well.
We're not far away from, of course, we're in Atlanta, Georgia. We're not far away from Augusta National Golf Course, which is renowned by many as the ultimate golf course in the world. So maybe that's where the inspiration comes from, because we know Amrik likes his he likes a game of golf.
Yeah, he's feeling the aura from the, from the golf course. At least he knows what's calling. That's why he's driving so quickly. He's thinking, right, let's get this over and done with. I want to go for a round of golf after this.
I'm going back and put 9 holes in after this.
Yeah, Jacob Toft currently then has now got a 5.4 second lead. For the last 2 or 3 laps, he's been 0.7 of a second quicker than Saruta. If that's not somebody saying, I want to go win this thing, then I don't know what is, because Jacob, you know, he was sort of, it was almost like he was testing the waters in the opening laps, wasn't it? He was just sort of saying, right, let's get up to a steady pace, get the car dialed in, see where we're at, and then he's just gone, right, like the afterburners, boys. Pull the lever, Kronk. Off he goes. Absolutely gone. 2 more corners to go. Well, 3 if you're being picky. But Jacob... Well, it's not 3 if you're being picky. It's 3. And Jacob tops over the crest of the hill. Shut up, Chaz. Taking another win to add to his tally. Amazing performance, Jacob. Incredible stuff in the first heat of the night. Christian Saruta is going to come home in 2nd place with Austin Greatorex behind. Carl Sharkey is just going to beat David Ward at the line. Well done to those guys as well for a good battle there. Stephen Haley, 3 places gained for him ahead of Tom Slater. And then Luke Holroyd is going to take a win in the AM class with Dan Bathy just behind. And Amrik Sashdev, stateside Sashdev, gets the top 10 Peter. What a drive that is.
Absolutely superb. Really, really well done, Amrik. That is just a fantastic performance to finish in the top 10 with such a deep field that we have now here in PCGB. Absolutely superb. I might even put out and say there that might be a career drive for Amrik as well. Absolutely superb.
Yeah, he should be proud of that one. It's not easy to get it right round here like we've been alluding to. And to gain so many places, get right up there into the top 10 amongst these guys as well. Considering we only had 1 retiree as well. And he's not done that based on attrition, he's done that on merit. So very well done to Amrik. But of course, that's only one of many races that we have for you this evening. We are not going to have a chance to look over the results because straight away we get back into it and we will have our 2nd grid of the night then. Mark Baxter-Jones and James Cummings on the front row ahead of Paul Rieger and Byron Crawford, the AM driver, in 4th. Gary Tall is next up ahead of Chris Byron, and it's Stephen Kershaw and Ross Dunstan. Next up is Rob Sharp and Danny Jones. Then it's Mark Bowe and Mark Johnson. It's an all-Mark row 6. João Estevez is then alongside Peter O'Connor with Gilles Gardner and Andrew Marston on row 8. Heinz Mayer and Mark Elvin on row 9 ahead of David Patching and Fausto Pinto in 20th place. So, very different mix of drivers this time around, Peter. Anybody that you've got your eye on?
Anchors Riga.
Anker's
I think
Riga.
he's on form at the moment.
Well, we'll have
First
to keep an eye on him.
offence for Anker's Riga.
Well, this is Paul's view. He's going up the revs. Just making sure that the car is certainly turned on, something that I didn't do recently when I started an iRacing race, and then realised I had to press a few buttons before I went anywhere. Anyway, hopefully none of these guys will do that, because the second heat of the night here at Road Atlanta is underway. All the cars lean back, hop off the line, and get shimmy in. And it looks like Paul Riga's got ahead of James Cummings early on here on the right-hand side, pulls out to the left slightly, tries to go around the outside of Mark Baxter-Jones. Mark winning the Sim Racing Magazine special event just over a month and a half ago at Spa-Francorchamps, but everyone so far looking good. Peter O'Connor, by the way. Peter O'Connor's just gained 3 places in the first 2 corners. Epic start for him.
Very impressive indeed, especially not easy to thread the eye of the needle there, heading up towards the S's. And the thing is, here at Road Atlanta, there being quite a short lap as well, you need about 2 laps to get the tyres up to optimum temperature and pressure. As you can see, a big moment there for Danny Jones, gets very loose on the exit of turn 5 and 6, and pays the price. Thought about throwing the block and thought, no, I'm the Harry Bluebear. I'm a cuddly, warm, fuzzy guy, so I'm not going to do that.
It's only fuzzy when you drop them on the floor under your desk. But
Yes.
Mark Baxter-Jones still in the lead of this race.
Quick rub on the side of the jeans. And off you go.
Paul Riga is in second place, going with him. They've then got a second back to Byron Crawford, who is leading the AM class at the moment. He's got James Cummings, Gary Tull, Chris Byron, Ross Dunstan, and then Stephen Kershaw behind him. A long train of cars making their way up the hill. Fantastic sound, fantastic visuals as well. But I think this battle for the lead is not over right now. I think you've made a good decision here with going for Mr. Riga. But Mark Baxter-Jones, he has certainly proved himself time and time again, not just here on Simracersworld TV, but on this series as well. He's shown everyone how to do it. Unfortunately, though, Mark Bowe
big hit.
has just had a massive clout with the wall.
Oh dear, yes, that is really fast there, going down into turn 1. Let's have a look. I think he maybe gets a little bit unsighted with O'Connor and Jones just swapping positions and just can't quite get it tucked in time, and just kind of got a little bit unsighted there. That's unlucky. I wonder if Mark Bowe might need to come in and get a fast repair, because those solid walls, they can do some serious damage to the car. And this car, it's I think the wheels are made out of Harry Bluebear, because they seem to go out of alignment quite easily.
Yeah, the suspension, I said a few weeks ago, is made of cracker bread. It's honestly like you just breathe on it and it just snaps and that's it. But unfortunately, it's a very, very hefty side-on impact, a real slap into the wall, we'd call it. And he takes quite a bit of damage from that one. This is Byron Crawford, who's currently holding on to 3rd place, but look behind him, you've got James Cummings, Gary Tull, Chris Byron, 2nd in the AM class in there as well, and then Ross Dunstan. Ross has been exciting to watch this season. Had a bit of a nightmare race I remember watching at Hockenheim, but he still has been one of the entertaining drivers in the field. Not too far under the radar despite the camouflage colour scheme. Mark Bowe is into the pits, by the way, so he is going to get that damage repaired. Baxter-Jones has now got a lead of about 7/10 of a second to Paul Riga. So he's starting to open it up slightly. Did a 1:20.4, whereas Riga did a 1:20.6. Really good lap times from these guys.
Yeah, they're really pulling away now. Byron Crawford up in 3rd overall, and leading in the AM class. The AM class drivers with the blue indicator to the left of their name. Pro drivers with a red. And yeah, very impressive indeed from Byron Crawford. Lines to go, racing. Now look at this, Paul Regan now right in the draft of Mark Baxter-Jones, and Mark Baxter-Jones having to hug the inside line here, but I think Regan might be able to get close enough, and you can go side by side on the brakes. Here he goes. Oh, he's going to go for the inside. Oh, this could get messy. Oh, but decided to back out of it. Mark Baxter-Jones saying, no, this is my line, and I am sticking to it. You're going to have to go the long way around, pal. Good stuff there. Now, of course, I can see in the chat we've got a lot of 11 tenths racing and MBJ fans. Now, the only reason I didn't pick Mark Baxter-Jones for the win here was because it's a bit like picking Michael Schumacher for a Formula 1 win in 2004.
Yes.
Mark has got himself to the point where he is such an obvious choice for race wins because he's one of the very best drivers in the championship. So you wouldn't get very long odds anyway, that's for sure.
No, definitely not. I think Byron Crawford needs to take a bow when he gets out of his sim for this one. What an amazing hold of his position there. Incredible defence around the outside, trying to hold off so many of these guys. There was nearly a very, very scary moment with Gary Tall as they came across the line. So James Cummings got through as they went down the hill. We're going to stick with this, and then if anything else happens, obviously we do have replays available. But this nearly gets very, very messy here, Peter. Byron trying his hardest to hold on to this. I was really expecting him and Gary Tall to bounce off the left-hand wall here, but somehow they don't. But just watch how Byron holds this.
Oh, blackout blinds for sale.
Yeah. And then Ross Dunstan goes down the inside and he says, "Not on your life, son, watch this." Carries the pace all the way.
You want some too. Yeah.
All the way around. Brilliant stuff.
How no one got past him there, I don't know, but that was incredible stuff by Byron Crawford. He's obviously just pulled the shutters down on the rear window and just gone, nah, there's no one behind me, I'm going.
Fantastic. As Baxter Jones again, fastest lap, 120.1 now, half a second quicker than Riga. Well, this boy is on it though, you're not lying. Really on the charge.
Yeah, absolutely critical lap time there from Mark Baxter Jones in race trim. That is mighty impressive. I mean, they only burned off about a third of the fuel, so the car will still be running a bit heavier than they will in qualifying. So that's a seriously fast lap time, and not easy to do when you're under pressure. You know you've got somebody in your draft, and someone, as we know, Paul Riga, we know how far back he can come from on the brakes. He didn't get the name Anchors for nothing. But that's mighty, mighty impressive from Mark Baxter Jones.
And he's going to keep doing that as well if he can help it. Stephen Kershaw here, second in class. There's Porsches everywhere, absolutely everywhere. That's Danny Jones and Mark Johnson side by side down the back straight. Car 44 on the right hand side, Mark Johnson. The number 5 Harry Beaubert clad machine is Danny Jones. Down the inside he goes. Nice tidy stuff from both of these pair. Mark tries to set himself up for a run on the exit. Doesn't quite work that way each and every time. Biggest mover in the field is the man that made some very, very big moves on the opening lap here, Peter O'Connor. Car 888 currently in 9th position. Going up through turn 1, he's got Chris Byram in front. It's not quite a Chris Akabusi tracksuit car anymore, is it, Chris Byram's machine? Because that thing used to be very, very bright and colourful. It still is in a way, but it's not quite got the wacky colours and dots and things all over it anymore.
Yeah, it's more like Chris Akabusi's, smart casual wear. Darling, we're going to see my parents. You can't wear those baggy trousers anymore. Sort of. He's still wild, but, just a little bit under control.
He is indeed, and wow, look at this now.
Kuda Chris.
Kuda Chris. Still battling away. Tries it on Kershaw. Ends up under attack from Peter O'Connor. Kershaw's livery as well, almost like some sort of dazzle camouflage in front of him, but he's got the slipstream from him now. O'Connor wants to move over to the left as much as possible to try and get a bit of that for himself. Now Kershaw's on the right, so O'Connor's the one with the slipstream. Into the braking zone they go, 2 by 2, because Danny Jones and Mark Johnson are at it as well. O'Connor's down the inside through the right-hander. They nearly lean on each other. Over the crest of the hill, O'Connor's going to have the inside and surely the position. Yes, he does. Danny Jones stays ahead of Mark Johnson as well. But meanwhile, in the middle of all this, one of the prettiest cars in the field, and the car on our thumbnail for tonight, Rob Sharp.
Yes, Rob Sharp taking... Oh! Watch the paintwork, Danny! Rob Sharp with the salt tyre, of course, there, and in the door pillar. But using a bit of... oh dear, side by side down the S's. This always ends so well. Oh, and Rob Sharp, very gentlemanly there, allows Johnson by, avoiding a catastrophic accident, as most drivers will know if you try to go 2 by 2 down there. But yes, the paint scheme on the 12th place car ahead of us right now, Rob Sharp using the Sunoco colours that was on the Porsche 917-30, which dominated here at Road Atlanta. A lot of the development of that car was done here at Road Atlanta as well. In fact, where the cars are just passing right now, Mark Donoghue had a huge accident when the whole bodywork of the car came off and he crashed at 200 miles an hour.
Oh wow, this is the same section where the GT1 car backflipped, isn't it?
Correct. Also a Porsche. Yeah, that was Yannick Dalmas. and yeah, not so nice. But yep, Sunoco colours very important here. I actually got you can even get a pair of 9/17/30 Penske Sunoco socks, and I did get myself a pair of those.
There's that heel tread.
Of course.
Of course. Love it. Absolutely.
I've got the Sauber, the sort of Boss black and red. They're not Hugo Boss, obviously. Their heel tread is much more luxurious. The Sauber C9 Mercedes Group C car, that one.
Oh, they made a very strange noise, those cars. A very good strange noise. It sounded like it should be a big burly V8 most of the time, but then other times it sounded really high-pitched. Byron Crawford's going to be making some high-pitched noises right now as Gary Toll pokes his nose down the inside, spit of flame on the brakes, bit of a lock-up as well. Is Dunstan going to go through? He's going to try and have the pair of them. Thank you very much, he says. Byron Crawford doesn't need to fight them for position, though. He's in the AM class. The guys in front are in the Pro category. But right now, he's got some slipstream off both of them here, both in sort of black and yellow camouflage patterns. Down the hill we go. That's you can see him getting on the brakes nice and early. He's saying, nah, I'm all right. You two go ahead and do what you're doing. I'm going to focus on my line and my line only. Dunstan gets a bit of the grass there. Byron cannot capitalise on it. Behind, though, Peter O'Connor's trying to hold off this rabble, Peter.
Oh, my. Yes, this is rabble is the correct adjective, I think, as Peter O'Connor holds the inside line that just compromises his speed a little bit. But oh my God, we're going to do 4 wide into turn 1. Oh, I don't think so. Danny Jones saying, "Whoa, I'm going to stay out of this one." Oh, and then doesn't. Oh, and runs into the side of poor old. Now was that
Chris Byron?
Oh, it was Chris Byron. Oh, Cooter Chris.
Well,
dear.
Still in the thick of the train. I mean, even if we go as far back as Mark Johnson, you can see, look at them snaking down the hill. That's a great shot, isn't it? You always love watching these cars move through there.
Oh, and you see just how these, they're so capable, these 992 Cup machines, with that a little bit additional aerodynamic work. And oh, we've got a problem ahead. Who is that off?
We will find out. It's Peter O'Connor and Stephen Kershaw. Peter O'Connor does get back on, and so does Stephen. Fausto Pinto has also had a massive hit into the wall. He's hit it so hard it's broken the engine in the back of the car. Let's have a look at what happened to Peter O'Connor first, though.
Should have fitted it with a Pinto engine. That wouldn't have blown up. That's a nerdy joke if I've ever heard one. Oh, classic. Absolutely classic. Turn 6.
Yep.
Wiggle, smash.
And yes, Earl in the chat is very, very correct. They are fighting for a place in the top 10. Oh, Fausto gets a big old wiggle on through there. And unfortunately, one final overcorrection is all it takes. But yes, let's not forget that in this, we get the top 10 going through to the final in the feature race. And then we have the top 15 in the consolation race going through. So there are positions to be had here in the feature race. Thank you very much indeed, Earl, in the chat, because I kind of forgot.
I think there's some fans have arrived when they heard about a close-up of Luke Holroyd's helmet.
Yes, they must have done, yeah. They must have done indeed. Well, unfortunately, they've been ejected before they can cause enough of a ruckus in the good old chat. But still, we saw Luke's unfinished helmet as well, I think I'm going to call it, in the earlier race. But now this has become a 5-car train, unfortunately not a 7-car train as it once was, but still all sorts of colours represented here. We've got a red one, a yellow one, a blue one, and a dark blue and orange one, and a green one, I should say. Oh, hello.
Chris Byron going to I thought about it, and Danny probably spent the majority of that corner looking in his mirror thinking, really? You're going to have a go there? And then, this is fantastic racing, because remember, of course, and oh no, Chris Byron spins, and oh dear.
Oh no.
Now Rob Sharp carries on, but for how long?
Chris just overdoes it on the curb.
Too much curb, yeah.
Oh, Rob. Does hit him,
does he
but
carry on after that?
Doesn't look that bad, does it? And just to add insult to injury, Johnson said, yeah, I'll send it up the inside. You've got enough on your plate. Have a bit of that. But then Rob says, no thank you. And Chris Byron has managed to carry on. But that's a very, very damaged rear end on that car. Peter O'Connor
just behind him. And we're actually very, very close to ending this race. I think we will still get one more lap after this one. And Baxter Jones.
What a drive.
Has just, he's disappeared up the road, hasn't he? Absolutely disappeared up the road.
Mighty, mighty impressive. And I think if Mark Baxter Jones can get him, looking at the lap times, he is not a million miles away from Jacob Toft's pace. He'll be starting, if he finishes where he is, he will start from the same row as Jacob Toft's, with Riga and Suruta the row ahead. But if Baxter Jones can get away clean, he has really, really strong race pace for the feature. But those opening couple of laps have really been... He's always had pace, but they've always kind of been his downfall and got caught up in incidents. Not necessarily his fault, but that his race pace tonight is so, so strong.
Yeah, he's just been untouchable, hasn't he? Absolutely untouchable. Ross Dunstan has gone off, and he's hit something very hard there, because the car is very bent in on the left-hand side. Oh, it's just going to be too much speed through turn one, isn't it? We saw this earlier on with Mark Bowe. Oh, lock-up as well. There's really... It's so helpless, isn't it? Because there's not anything you can do there. He's lucky it's a tyre wall, but he just gets it stuck, the front end buried in. He carries on, but he's way down the order now in 13th place, and importantly, out of the final. Somebody that's going to... Get your words out, Chaz, flipping it. Somebody that's going to progress very, very quickly to the final in really impressive fashion is Mark Baxter Jones. Takes a very unchallenged win. Paul Rieger's going to take a great second place, though. Awesome drive by Paul. James Cummings is going to finish third after qualifying second. He'll be happy with that one. He goes through. So too does Gary Tull. Byron Crawford's going to win the AM class after a great defence earlier on. João Estevez is going to follow him home. 6th place overall for João. Danny Jones in 7th with Mark Johnson 8th. He's going to have Rob Sharp just behind him, and then a few seconds back. The final one to make it through, Peter O'Connor. So a very well-deserving top 10, but you've got to feel for Ross Dunstan there, because just at the end lost those important positions that would have got him through, Peter.
Yeah, a real pity just at that last moment, but it just shows you just got to keep it on the black stuff, and that is really the key at Road Atlanta. It's a properly fierce circuit, and you know, with high track temperature, it can be very greasy as well. So when we go into the feature, for those who are lucky enough to race in the feature, it will be tough over that long race distance.
And we have more of it coming up right now, the Consolation Race straight away. So 15 of these drivers will go through into the final race of the night then. It is Josh Bailey on pole position, Chris Byram alongside him, Johnny Elia looking to get through with Stephen Kershaw and Ryan Penny rounding out the top 5. Ross Dunstan joins Ryan on row 3 ahead of Oliver Carwadine, with Paul Goffin just behind Mark Elvin. Jill Gardner is 10th ahead of Ralph Mayer and Andrew Marston. Then we have Michael Rowe and Heinz Mayer just behind them. Peter Brill is 15th ahead of Mark Bowe, 16th. Stuart Clark and David Patching on row 9. Andrew Soper and Fausto Pinto round out your top 20. And then Gregory Buttsworth is 21st at the back of the pack, ready to try and make strides forward. So, anyone in this one that you've got your eye on, Peter? Because it seems like quite the mixed grid right now.
I think Elia.
It's not a bad shout at all, to be honest with you. Not a bad shout at all. That seemed like
a false start there for Rowe.
Yeah, I was going to say there was certainly some movement, wasn't there? Certainly some movement. Bailey and Byram then side by side. That's turn 1. Byram's gone very late on the brakes. Bailey just playing it safe. Chris Byram's gone. Absolutely Chris Akabusi up the hill. Gone for it. Johnny Elia taking it nice and steady after a very, very messy first race start. He had issues with his wheel. You can see them all tiptoeing their way over the top of the hill. They all know that they just have to survive these opening few laps. He just overtakes the Sim Racing Magazine car there of Andrew Marston, who's organised a few special events. We've got another one actually next Tuesday. Sim Racing Magazine Porsche Cup race at Alton Park, which is going to be a hell of a lot of fun. I'll be on the comms for that one. But a nice tidy start by everybody, to be fair there, Peter. Nobody even off the road.
No, very, very impressive indeed. I have to say, I do miss Andy running the Pink Pig. Maybe he could make a Pink Pig Sim Racing Magazine special livery. Maybe.
That would be quite nice.
That could be done. Yeah. And it could be like, yeah, the different cuts of meat could be like little quotes from the Sim Racing magazine.
That's not. I really like that idea. I think. I hope he watches the broadcast back and picks that one up. If not, I'm going to get in touch with him and tell him that's what we need to do. Either way, we have a very, very tidy first lap in the books. Then everybody just keeping themselves out of trouble. Johnny Elia down the inside of Josh Bailey. That is second place now. He's going to go charging after Chris Byron. You can put your money on it. Mark Bowe is just trying to get around Heinz Mayer. Around the outside in the Crockery Direct car. Further back, look at all these guys so close together there. Michael Rowe trying to get past Marston on his left-hand side. They work together up to the top of the hill. Andrew just decides to get out of it slightly. Peter Brill's gone straight on. The shiny orange machine just loops around on him. The Mankini car cuts it very fine indeed, as they usually do. But Chris Byron, though, smashing start for him so far. He just needs to try and keep very, very consistent now. I mean, you do anyway, but he, of course, needs to just pump those lap times out, doesn't he? Because Johnny Elia is so quick and can catch people when he really wants to with quite a lot of ease.
Yeah, Johnny Elia, of course, just didn't quite... I don't know what happened. It's almost like he didn't have the car in gear or something at the start of his heat, and that really had quite disastrous consequences. So he's really wanting to make sure he gets as good a grid position as possible for the future. And the best way to do that is to catch Chris Byron and get past, but easier said than done. And with only 10 minutes, it's not long to get the job done. Nearly up to the third of the way through already, and there you go, 1:21.0 from Elia, 2/10 quicker than Byron, but you'll need to do that every lap if he wants a chance to get close.
He will indeed. Stuart Clark, I'm afraid, has had another nightmare of a race. And this one's going to be over very, very shortly. Oh, wow, he's already off there. So, looks like he might have gone off coming up the hill. What's going on there? Now that is actually Gilles Gardner was slowing down. Not sure if Gilles...
the pits.
Yeah, I don't know if Gilles had his own moment there. Because Gilles didn't end up... Oh no, he did go into the pits, but it didn't look like he knew where the pit entry was there for a second.
It did seem a bit unusual that, yeah, it was clear that Gilles wasn't on the racing line, he was going into the pits, and then all of a sudden turns left sharp. Because that is a bizarre one. Very, very strange. But and you really have to feel for Stuart Clark there, because you would feel in normal circumstances he was just carrying on as normal. There's a car on his inside going into the pits, that's fine, and then all of a sudden it's in his path. It's not been Stuart Clark's night, let's put it that way.
No, it really hasn't, and it's just not been David Patching's night either. He's going up the hill here, turns into the left, gets a hit off Heinz Mayer, gets straightened up by him, but tries to slow it down and then clatters into him again. The two of them going straight on.
Yeah.
Not a friendly scenario there.
Yeah, that relationship night needs some patching up.
At least it's not as fragile as the Crockery, I suppose, but yeah, not what you want to see there. Now, Fausto Pinto's trying to blind his way through the field, trying to dazzle all of his competitors out of the way, himself, and of course, our very own João Estevez has very, very bright chrome liveries on their car. He's like literally ambulance chasing once again. We've got another one at it right now, Peter, as they all follow along behind poor Andrew Soper in the blood machine.
Right, yeah. Have you ever tried that in the motorway when you get a good... Yeah, I tell you what, you get a good draft off an ambulance. Especially with the lights on, you just sit behind it, you get a perfect tow.
It's when they turn the lights off and it feels like you've gone from 30 frames per second back to 60 frames per second.
Like,
it's really weird. Everything stops being like sort of like a strobe light. Johnny Elia's just taking the lead, by the way. Chris Byron just gets displaced. And yes, I do agree. You shouldn't ambulance chase, but yes, you do get a good slipstream. I did it once in a Seicento. Johnny Elia does have the lead now.
Did you have one of them as well?
Oh yeah, a Seicento
Our car
Sporting.
histories have followed each other, because did you have a Seicento Sporting?
I did, a red one with white wheels. It was wonderful.
Oh, I had a black one with silver wheels and orange tiger stripes. It was called Simba.
Oh, I love it. Wait, was Simba a tiger?
Details. It didn't get questioned very much because I smashed it into a million pieces about 2 weeks after getting my license.
Oh, heck. Now, I got really upset. I had to scrap mine because it had a head gasket failure and it cost me.
Well, mine had a leaky fuel tank. That was inconvenient.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Was it always whenever you filled it over about 3/4?
Oh, yeah. It's just...
Yeah. You'd fill it full.
All over the floor. Yeah.
You'd fill it full, and then the next morning you'd go out to it, and it'd be on like just over half. And I was like, "What's this all about?" It's almost like they didn't want you to fill it up, but oh well.
But from the most unreliable car to a Fabia VRS, which I looked at one on classifieds this morning. I had a dream about buying my Fabia VRS back last night.
Oh no!
I had a dream about buying the one that I had, which had been sideways through a field and a fence. Maybe you should buy a different one.
They are incredible cars, are the Fabia VRS diesels. Me and my dad were talking about them actually because he had our 2005 one, and then I had it off him at 219,000 miles. I got it off him at, and it did 286,000 before we got rid of it. And someone bought it off me and kept it running over 300. Hell of a machine, but not quite as good as these things. But
comfy seats as well. The seats in it are so comfy.
Just a nightmare to keep clean.
Yeah.
What is clean right now, though, is the racing.
Wasn't a good date car. Oh, never mind.
Oh, hello. Right now, though, it's clean racing, to be honest. No back seats in these cars. Ryan Penny not taking a back seat either, with Mark Bowe right behind him. Mark obviously hitting the wall in the earlier race, damaging the car. So he is in a position right now to get through. Gregory Buttsworth also on his way through into the feature race. If he keeps this up, he's got Mark Elvin, or what's left of Mark Elvin's car, right behind him. Stuart Clark, as you see in the background, he's carried on with that damage, actually, Peter. He probably feels like the car isn't too banged up and that he can outpace some of the guys in front of him.
Yeah, I mean, doing pretty well to just, to fight on is Stuart Clark. And, watch out for the Mankini in the middle of the road.
Well, that's a position game for Stuart then. Into the final he will go. Elia does the fastest lap of the race there, a 1:20.4. is very, very quick. That's not going to give a lot of other drivers much confidence in the Consolation Race. But either way, Elia smashing it at the moment. And he's not got long to go. I'd probably say one more lap after this one, wouldn't you?
Well, it's going to be... I would say, looking at my Omologato timepiece, official watch of the Porsche Club of Great Britain, I would say that, yes, we've got... it's going to be very close. No, one lap after this one, yeah.
Well, Johnny Elliott making it look good as well at the moment.
Keeps time like an Omologato.
I was trying to think of a pun based on the "for what you" something, but no, there's none for reading the time. Unfortunately, that's not something that people often boast about being able to do. Then again, my son did recently. But Stephen Kershaw is in 4th place at the moment. I'm sure he can read the time back to Josh Bailey, who is 3.9 seconds back on him, so he's not in too much danger. Looks like Mark Bowe's lining up a move on Ryan Penny. Down the inside he goes. Tries to get a cutback. Car 11 versus 99. Does get a cutback. Ryan gives him the room down the inside. Onto the final lap of the race we go, and Mark Bowe goes up into 7th place. Now that's important because it's an extra position in the feature race, isn't it, Peter? This thing does actually affect the grid for these guys further down the order.
It does indeed, yes. From 21st back the way, it sets the grid position. So very, very important to get as far up the Consolation Race as you can to make sure that you've got as good a grid position as you can. Very unusual to see Mark Bowe in the Consolation Race, of course, winner overall in the feature race at Donington Park. And not his usual Sunday best, Mark, but I'm sure we'll see him go forward in the feature race because he's got really strong pace. Always got the most enthusiastic fan club. Mrs. Bowe, in fact, 2 Mrs. Bowe's. Mrs. Bowe, Mark's mum, and Mark's wife as well, all both tune in. So, hello, Mrs. Bowe's.
Now, David Patching and Gilles Gardner have just had a coming together, but that pales into insignificance right now because Johnny Elia is coming out the final corner. We've got Chris Byron all over the back of him, actually. Chris wants to take this Consolation Race win, but it's going to go the way of 11 tenths, car 688. Johnny Elia
gets the job done ahead of Byron. Dunstan gets through, and Ryan Penny and Paul Goffin have both gone off. I think there might have been contact down into the chicane. They're both going to straggle away from there and manage to get through, but going through also Stephen Kershaw, Josh Bailey, Oliver Cowdery, Mark Bowe, Ryan Penny, Paul Goffin, Heinz Meyer is going to come over the hill to make it through, and it might be getting a bit feisty here actually in some of the last positions inside the top 15. This is Andrew Soper trying to overtake Gregory Buttsworth, but those guys are going to get through into the feature as well. And Stuart Clark is going to be the last one to get through there. Unfortunately, Mark Elvin not making it through by the end. Michael Rowe also dropping out, as well as Peter Brill, David Patching, Ralph Mayer and Gilles Gardner. But what a very, very important win that was for Johnny Elia there, because after the earlier knock of confidence with his wheel issues, you really do need to be able to come back from something like that and take a win, don't you?
Yeah, that was proper bounce back ability, as they say in American golf commentary. There from Johnny Elia. Very impressive to put the disappointment of race 1 behind him and get himself on the grid for the feature race. And of course, he'll start just behind the fastest guys from the heats as well. So he's got a good reference point ahead of him when the feature race gets going.
Yes, indeed he does. He's going to have a very, very good opportunity, I'd say, in the final race. So what we'll do is we'll just have a quick look through some of the results that have led us up to this point. We'll quickly go over the Heat 1 results, where we saw Jacob Tofts take a race win 5.4 seconds ahead of Austin Greatorex and Christian Zeruta, but in the other order. Carl Sharkey was 4th with David Ward in 5th ahead of Stephen Haley and Tom Slater. Luke Holroyd was the highest placed driver in the AM class. Dan Bathy was 9th ahead of Amrik Sashdev, with Josh Bailey and Johnny Elia behind. Ryan Penny, Oliver Cowdery and Paul Goffin were 13th, 14th and 15th ahead of Ralph Mayer, Michael Rowe and then Peter Brill. Behind them was Stuart Clark and Andrew Soper, joining Peter on being 1 lap down, and then Gregory Buttsworth did not finish the race. Peter, my friend, if you could take us through Heat 2's results.
So confirming then, Mark Baxter-Jones a triumphant victory in Heat 2 by 3.8 seconds from Paul Ricca, with James Cummings rounding out the top 3. Gary Toll and Byron Crawford round out the top 5. João Esteves was 6th, followed by Danny Jones, Mark Johnson, Rob Sharp and Peter O'Connor completes the top 10. Chris Byron was 11th, followed by Stephen Kershaw, Ross Dunstan, Mark Elvin, Gilles Gardner, Andrew Marston, Heinz Meyer and Mark Bowe, finishing in 18th place.
Oh, just behind them as well, actually, wasn't there? Sorry, I tried to scroll it and it wouldn't work then. Apologies.
Yeah, just 2 more. David Patching and Fausto Pinto. There you go.
Thank you very much, buddy. Right then, the consolation race that we just saw there. Johnny Elia takes the win in that one, just ahead of Chris Byron, with Ross Dunstan, Stephen Kershaw and Josh Bailey rounding out your top 5. Then it was Oliver Cowdery, Mark Bowe and Ryan Penny, Paul Goffin and Heinz Meyer, 9th and 10th. Andrew Marston was 11th, just ahead of Fausto Pinto, Gregory Buttsworth, Andrew Soper and Stuart Clark. Those are all the guys that are going through. And unfortunately, it was the last race of the evening for Mark Elvin, Michael Rowe, Peter Brill, Ralph Mayer, David Patching and Gilles Gardner. So everybody, Peter and I are just going to take a very quick break here on Simracersworld TV, and we will be right back with you in just a few minutes time, and then we'll get the final race of the night underway. Don't go away. Well, hello again, everybody. So, a couple of minutes flies by very, very quickly indeed. And the warm-up session here at Road Atlanta is about to come to an end. Cars will disappear off circuit very, very suddenly. And then we will be ready for the final race of the evening. It's going to be certainly an intriguing one, Peter. Plenty could happen here. We've got a very, very intriguing grid. Of course, a lot of it reversed as well. And I think we should have a very, very strong fight in the mid-pack as people come through. Peter O'Connor's going to start on pole position. Amrit Sashdev alongside. Then it's Rob Sharp and Dan Bathy on row 2 with Mark Johnson and Luke Holroyd just behind. Danny Jones is next up ahead of Tom Slater, João Estevez and Stephen Haley. Then we've got Byron Crawford and David Ward, Gary Tall and Carl Sharkey, James Cummings, Austin Greatorex, Paul Rieger, Christian Zaruta, Mark Baxter-Jones, Jacob Tofts, Johnny Elia, Chris Byron, Ross Dunstan, Stephen Kershaw, Josh Bailey, Oliver Cowdy, Mark Bowe, Ryan Penny, Paul Goffin, Heinz Mayer, Andrew Marston, Fausto Pinto, Gregory Buttsworth, Andrew Soper and Stuart Clark at the back of the grid. Anyone you've got your eye on, Peter? Because these boys are about to get going.
Oh, it's all about the championship, boys, isn't it? Saruta, Tofts, Greatorex. Who knows?
You never
Let's
know.
find out.
You never know here at Road Atlanta. It can happen in the blink of an eye as we go around this wonderful, wonderful circuit. The lights are about to come on then, and the final race of the night, the penultimate round of the championship in the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Racing Series is underway. You can hear a few of them lighting it up on the traction control, lighting up the rears as they use the launch control to go with it. Wonderful looking field of Porsches makes its way down to turn 1. And it's Peter O'Connor leading them through. Does everyone behave themselves? Stephen Kershaw's been off the road apparently already in a straight line, but he comes back on and gets through it. See if we can get a blimpy boy out here and see what the blimp can tell us. But look at that. Wonderful sight there as they all make it through at least turn 3, making their way back down the hill. I think we've got away with that one there, Peter. Really tidy start. Good stuff.
Well, Jacob Tofts and Austin Greatorex have got through, but Christian Saruta is right down the order. Don't know what's happened to Saruta there. Has dropped quite a few positions, so maybe didn't quite get the getaway that he wanted, and he's been swamped by the field. So a disastrous start for Christian Saruta.
Oh no.
Oh, David Ward spin. Oh, one of the favourites, I would say, for this race. Now he's going to have to, oh dear, he's going to get a grandstand view of the entire field driving by him. That's painful. Look at this, Talladega style going down the back straight, and look at Jacob Tofts. He's right in the middle of it there. I do apologise. That is Luke Holroyd. I do apologise. They're running a very similar shade of colour.
Yeah, they do.
2 different types of extra packet there.
It is, isn't it? To be fair, actually, my girlfriend works in packaging design, and I was having to talk to her about all the different shades of teal the other day, and that would be definitely 2 of them. João Estevez has put himself in the pit lane in the naughty corner, so I'm not quite sure what that was for, but I'm trying to find everyone as they go. Luke Holroyd's off. Luke's off. He's back on again, just about surviving. Straight lines it, decides not to get in anybody's way. Quick thinking there, to be honest. But at the very front, Amrik, stateside Sashdev. He's on a mission here, Peter. He's staying with O'Connor.
He certainly is, yeah. He is raring to go here. Right in the draft now of Peter O'Connor, and they've got a reasonable gap back to Dan Baddy. There he is in the Sacred Coffee machine. He's definitely, like you said, Chaz, he was a little bit of a steady start to the night for Dan Bardi, but nothing a couple of double shots of Sacred Coffee can't fix. And best of all, when you're finished with the pods, you just chuck them in the bin because they are biodegradable and compostable.
And there you go. But yes, indeed, Dan Bathy holding on strong in 3rd place at the moment. I love cameras like that where these things all whistle past at full chat down the back straight. Tom Slater in the Jameson machine with Stephen Haley not far behind him. We've got AM drivers leading the race overall at the moment ahead of pro drivers. Luke Holroyd is side by side with Mark Baxter-Jones in the number 8 machine. These two have had so many championship fights. It's been great to watch over previous seasons. And look at that, sneaking up around the outside goes James Cummings. We've got Christian Saruta a few cars back from these guys. Johnny Elia wants to take advantage of this on the right-hand side of Holroyd, has to back out of it. He's got Paul Rieger in there as well, trying to make some ground. Look at them snaking their way through over turn 3. Back down the hill once again. On board now with Ross Dunstan. As, oh no, straight on. Is that Baxter-Jones? It is. Whoa. I leant back in my chair then. I don't know about you.
My teeth are drier than the desert. Oh,
that
my
was
word.
a scary, scary old moment there. I thought he'd lost the back end and he was spinning into the middle of the road, but he just wanted to keep it off the grass. Look at this train of cars here as we head down the straight. There's so many of them together. Chopper Cam's probably an even better shout than that. So many of them all in close proximity with each other. You've got Jacob Tofts and Austin Greatorex having a fight here.
Oh, yeah, good spot. And, yeah, Jacob Tofts keeping himself on the defensive line, not giving Austin a look. And Austin just tucks in behind, but a little bit of a mistake there from Byron Crawford, and that's just held up the momentum a little bit for Tofts. Now, is he going to have a go here into the final corner? He does. That's a big move at turn 12. That's commitment, and fair play to Crawford for maintaining the room there as well. And the only thing is, though, is that Austin Greatorex says thank you very much and goes for it now. Now, can he get the move sealed up in time? Yes, he does, but compromises his line a little bit. And look at that, straight away, 4 or 5 car lengths, and Tofts is off in pursuit of Carl Sharkey in 9th position. There he is.
Yeah, he's doing a great job so far, Jacob Tofts. Great first few opening laps. It's what we'd call a King Hippo drive. We saw, of course, Ryan Parkins take the first 2 championships. Most of that came down to not just his superior pace in the first races, but the way in which he dealt with the traffic in the second races as well. He stayed really, really calm early on and just picked his way through. You know, we saw him often holding back where some of his rivals just went headfirst into it, and then whenever there was trouble, his rivals always got caught out by it. Ryan didn't, and Jacob is honestly emanating that so much. It really does just look like Ryan Parkins is driving on Jacob's account, doesn't it? It's so similar the way they have managed all of their race weekends, their race evenings, and he continues to do it so well. It's a big lock up and Johnson's off.
Yeah, you can just tell that just Jacob's been, what is it they said, once bitten, twice shy. Is there a couple of examples in these feature races where he's been caught out by other people's incidents, and yeah, I think that's definitely playing on his mind. And of course does quite a lot of practice with former champion Ryan Parkins, so I think, yeah, that's definitely playing on his mind here, because and of course not finding it easy to get past Carl Sharkey, and that's allowed Greatorex to come back into the mix. And again, as we know, as we've said, Carl Sharkey, head and shoulders above anybody, is the hardest guy to pass in this entire field. Always has been. How he does it, I don't know. But it's always super tricky to get by, and Jacob Tofts is getting a first-hand experience of that right now.
Yeah, he certainly is, and it's the back end of Carl Sharkey's machine that's going to have all of the pressure on it now. Looks like a tiny bit of damage maybe on the front of Jacob's car. Could even just be from some of the curbs or something as he's gone through this race. I don't particularly think he's made contact with anybody. He's seen closing in. He's going to move to the right bar screen. Carl Sharkey goes with him. He's a little bit later on the brakes, his car, but he does lock up. I think there's trouble in front of him. It's Danny Jones. And now Jacob's going to try and get a cutback on the right-hand side. But where is Austin Greatorex in all this? Let's go on board with Austin, see how this battle looks, because these two championship contenders right now. Zaruta's a number of positions back on these guys, and he's actually dropping off. Zaruta's had an issue. Zaruta is around.
Oh, you can't do that.
Whoa.
You cannot do that. That is just not on. You cannot do a flick turn pointing the other way with cars coming towards you. I'm sorry, that's not on.
No, I felt the authority there. I think he's had some help. Stephen Kershaw is... Whoa.
I'm afraid that's not on. The drivers are told, there you go. That's absolutely unforgivable, I'm afraid.
No, it's a very, very scary moment, especially for the guys that are coming the other way as well. You don't want to see... You'd expect it to sort of roll backwards, wouldn't you? Not to go forward into traffic.
You stay still and you let people go around you. You don't do that. That's A1, Chapter 1, 1.1.
Genesis.
Yeah.
Right now, Rob Sharp has got Stephen Haley and Tom Slater right up behind him. This is Am driver with 2 pro drivers just behind, so he doesn't have to fight this too hard. Stephen Haley has been a master of making a lot of liveries. He's been very active in the Sim Racing magazine Discord as well, showing us all of his wonderful designs. Danny Jones is off the road. I feel like he may have got a bit of help there with the way that the car came to rest. Gary Tall sending it down the inside. He's coming from a while back. Oh, just has a bit of a lock-up and chucks Danny off onto the grass. I'm not sure there was anything untoward there from Gary, just made a little honest mistake and outbroke himself. Luke Holroyd's had an issue as well here, Peter. He's all on his own actually out there, and he's decided to pull it over actually. He gives us a nice shot of how the car looks, but that's the end of his race, I'm afraid.
Well, that's a pity. Well, it's Road Atlanta. It's always a tough race, and after that little incident there with... Now, Kawasaki did maintain his position despite the lockup and defended it into turn 1 a couple of laps ago, but Toft has found his way by somewhere, and now Sharkey has got his mirrors full of Austin Greatorex. But this is, I'm sure, Jacob will be working with a spotter, as will Greatorex, and they'll know that Saruta's in trouble, and that will definitely play on their mind. As Sharkey, just locks up again. You know, if you're going to try and outbrake the top guys, you've got to get it absolutely perfect, and just a tiny lock up there again for Sharkey, and that frees up Greatorex, and he can now go off in pursuit as, oh dear, we've got a bit of a mess here. Paul Goffin off on the straightaway.
Yeah, it's a very strange.
Unusual.
Yeah, very strange place to go off. We'll have a look at that in a second. Jacob Tofts, though, has now made another position. He's gained 14 places in this race. Also, so has Mark Bowe. I must say, Mark's done a great job so far in this race. However, neither of them are our biggest mover in the field. So far, Stuart Clark has gained 16 spots. He's had a torrid evening so far. Started 19th on the grid, and here he is. Look at him go. Brilliant stuff.
He's a Sunday man. That's it's Stuart Clark.
Oh, I thought it was because he liked to roast.
Yeah, that was what I was going for.
Ah,
I'm
okay.
glad you got that. That's
Yeah,
good. That's
yeah.
good. Yeah, that's see, only with our sort of chemistry will you with those,
Yes.
with that come across. But yes, no, Stuart Clark doing it just shows you, if you can get yourself into the feature, you never know what will happen ahead of you.
Very, very correct. As another move is made by Jacob Tofts, now overtaking Tom Slater. He's got a few cars between himself and Austin Greatorex right now. It's very important, because to be honest, this could be Jacob getting his foot in the door to taking the title. We know how quickly it can close up. In terms of the championship, Jacob is only 4 points clear, to be fair. So it's not like he's got it completely sealed. You can get up to 30 points for taking the win overall. Although, to be fair, in round 2, Jacob got 40 points, so I think that's where he absolutely decimated, wasn't it, earlier on in the season. So 40 points from a race meeting, very, very impressive. So with only 4 between them going into this one, I don't actually think he's going to get it wrapped up at all here. Saruta as well is only 8 points back. Even David Ward, you know, he was only, 34 points off, so he's still within a chance. But right now, he's down in 21st place, and the number 69 cars championship hopes have been quite literally turned upside down, you could say, Peter.
Yeah, a little bit of a shame there for David Ward, as Jacob Tofts makes a move on Stephen Haley and now sets his sights on man of the meeting for me, stateside Sashdev in third. And you would think I'm up in third overall, I must be leading the AM class. No, that honour goes to Peter O'Connor, who has got his mirrors full of the fantastic motor racing photographer Dan Bathy, award-winning motor racing photographer.
Rightly so.
Yeah, absolutely. His shots are just fantastic. But bless him, he's unfortunately, it was for the second year running due to a combination of COVID and Brexit, not getting to go out to the Monte Carlo Rally, which is a shame. Obviously, a great shame for him, but a great shame for all of us, because I was looking forward to seeing his shots.
Yeah.
Of course, Monte Carlo doesn't get more picturesque than that, and these new hybrid rally cars, they look amazing.
They do. They are all sorts of bonkers as well. But anyone that knows Dan and his photography will have loved his shots from the Le Mans 24 Hours last year as well. Unbelievable pictures, Ferraris in the rain, all sorts. Looks absolutely incredible. We've had issues for Johnny Elia and Chris Byron here. This is a big old... Whoa! Where are you boys going? That's a massive, massive incident. The two of them get together as they go down the hill. And that is all she wrote for those guys, I have to say. But look who's in third all of a sudden now, Peter, and on his way to the top spot with 12 minutes, just over half of this race left to go. Just under half this race left to go. Jacob Tofts.
Yeah, and that's the... You mentioned it. It is a King Hippo Ryan Parkins drive, of course. For those who may be new to the PCGB paddock, the winner of Season 1 and Season 2, as Dan Bathy gets the job done, does he? Just, yes, very nice move there. Pour yourself another coffee, Dan. That was very nice. But yes, Ryan Parkins, of course, our champion in Season 1 and Season 2. We called him the King Hippo, and he was just his race 2 reverse grid drives were always just inspired, and often would be very quiet in the first couple of laps, thinking, oh, what's going on here? And he would just kind of wait for the sea to part in front of him, and that's exactly what Jacob Toss has done here. He hasn't had to rush this. He's got so much pace in hand, and look at really unfortunate for Austin Braderix, he's kind of got stuck in the traffic jam here a bit, and look at that. Oh, 3 wide for the lead. Oh my goodness me, this is tasty.
Tofts through the middle of it as well. It had to be, didn't it? Dan Bathy's on the inside. On the right-hand side, you've got Peter O'Connor. Jacob moves over a little bit. I think there may nearly have been contact there. That was very, very squeezy, strokey, touchy. But Peter O'Connor manages to hold on to second place. It's just the cars around him that have swapped positions. We'll have another look back at that one. Oh, Jacob.
Threading a packet of polos through a keyhole there. Oh my. He's still got the youthful exuberance. Although he might have he's got the wise head and the youthful exuberances. I think both Bathy and O'Connor both got a little bit kind of caught out by that and just had a little bump into one another, but kept it under control and can resume their battle.
And so they will. David Ward is...
Look how much of a gap has gone already. Oh dear.
Slow down! It is unbelievable. Absolutely.
But you're showing off now, Jacob.
Yeah. 1.5 seconds now. Jacob Toss leads to Peter O'Connor. It's not even been a lap. 2 seconds as they come out of there and go down the straight. And he's got that good a run. He's actually opening up that gap. Gary Tall has spun around at the top of the hill and manages to get back going again. Speedy Kiwi in the chat asking how far we are into the season. We are at the penultimate race meeting right now. And this is for Porsche Club of Great Britain members, I believe. Only. I'd say only, but you know, I think it is just PCGB members only, isn't it? But either way, there's battles aplenty all the way up and down the order. This is David Ward having to get out of it there as the two cars get very, very close together. And that is Mark Bowe and Paul Rieger. Anchors Rieger. We've not seen too much of him tonight. He did a brilliant job and finished second in his heat earlier on, but he's 14th at the moment. He's gained 3 places from where he started, granted, but he's just not been able to move much further forward than that.
No, this has been a slightly quieter race here for Paul Rieger in the number 7 car. I think that's my favourite paint of the... it's very cool with the red and the black and the gold. It's almost like Timo Bernhard's helmet. It's almost got a slight German theme to it.
Yeah, I like
that. Like an alternative Schumacher.
Yeah, I do like the idea of that, actually. I wasn't really... I'm not going to try and go down a rabbit hole here, but I'm going to say this. I was never really that much of a fan of Schumacher's lids when he went with like the full red approach. I preferred his classic white with the German flag and the blue bit on the top.
I like Bernhard's helmet. He was cool.
Oh yeah. Although an underrated helmet in motorsports, Ukio Katayama. Have a look at it. Mark Bowe just bounces over the curb. Just kisses the wall on the way out. It's such a frustrating corner that is as well, because the car can so easily just float into there. Obviously the rear wheels are still spinning, and as they gradually slow down from being spun up too much, they just gain traction and just throw you forward at that wall. And much like most of the walls around here at Road Atlanta, as Peter mentioned earlier, they are solid concrete walls and they do not help the car, it's safe to say. But Peter O'Connor, as we look at him now, in amongst all these pro drivers, he's got Rob Sharp just 2 cars back from him there in the number 86 machine. These two leading the, well, obviously one of them isn't at the moment, but the pair of them together, with Amrik Sashdev 1.6 seconds back, are on the podium in the AM category. Just listen to that gearbox, it's a hell of a clunk. And as I say that, it doesn't do the clunk.
if that was a road car, you'd be taking it back to the dealer saying it's an awful noise on the gear change.
That's why we love race cars, the noises they make.
Sounds like a Seicento after an MOT.
Sounds like my Seicento, the time where I accidentally went from 3rd to... Whoa! Tom? What are you doing? Tom had a very scary moment there. What a fantastic, fantastic dodge that was by Rob Sharp. Let's have a look at that again. We'll go outside, actually, because... Oh, Tom just steps on it, doesn't it, to make sure he doesn't slide any further. As back on board with Tom Slater we go. Carl Sharkey now has just overtaken him. Tom has dropped down from P5 to P10. I was going to say, though, it sounds like my Seicento, the time where I went from, instead of going from 3rd to 4th as I went onto a bypass, I went from 3rd to 2nd in my cockiness to try and change gear quickly. That made a hell of a racket, I can tell you that for free.
I bet it did. All of those... is it a 4-cylinder? Yeah, it is a 4-cylinder.
Yeah.
1.1 litre 4-cylinder. All those
54 horsepower.
Off the bonnet. Yeah.
Yeah. To be fair, the little rev counter that was in the middle of the dashboard started popping up and down like a cuckoo clock when I hit 2nd gear. It was on a spring with a bird coming out of it. James Cummings is currently in 8th place, just inside the top 10. Amrik Sashdev right behind him. Amrik has actually dropped down from a podium position in his class, unfortunately. Just trying to see where that happened. Byron Crawford got past him. Oh, it was just a lap ago, actually, just before Tom Slater's incident. Byron round the outside into the chicane, has the inside. Oh, hello, bit of contact there, though. And through goes Byron. That was a bit argy-bargy, but we've got fantastic fights still going on at the front here. Greater X wants to get right behind Jacob Tofts to make sure that he doesn't gain more points in the championship, but Haley's on the back of both of these guys right now. This is awesome.
We're getting trolled, Chaz. They're saying that Paul Riga is Italian. We know that, but the car looks like it's got German paint.
Yes. Yeah.
We're not that. I mean, we might be on the simple side, but we're not that simple.
We may laugh at puns that nobody else gets, but give us credit. Right, let's go on the left front suspension and Stephen Haley's car. Well, it's the left door handle, isn't it, really? As we now power our way down the back straight. Now, Austin Greatorex is going to get some good slipstream off Dan Bathy here, so we've got to see how much Stephen Haley can close in. It's this sort of stage now where you really get the effects of it. Further down the straight, 6th gear, foot is hard down onto the pedal. Greatorex gets in front, he's going to be on the outside of the first part of the chicane, inside for the second part, and look at this, Stephen Haley tries to take advantage. A little bit at the back end, stepping out there, not quite able to catch down. That was a wonderfully proportioned shot there as we go down the hill through the famous last corner here at Road Atlanta. Not too long of this race left to go here, Peter, but this is a wonderful battle for second place.
Yeah, I think Stephen Haley will be sending his invoice to Chaz Draycott Media at Cheshire, whatever town, and because that was some great camera work.
Thank you very much.
Caught it from Stephen Haley.
Oh, yeah. Camera
As in, they'll be sending you an invoice for his camera work from the left puddle light of the 992. They've probably not got puddle lights, actually.
Someone that needs them in a
Have
minute.
you seen these things? Puddle light.
Yeah, where they turn and then it comes on and... Yeah.
No, it's like when you open the door and it has a little light. It's almost like a little Batman flashlight down to the floor.
Yeah, I remember my dad's BMW had one. I thought it was amazing.
Yeah. The only thing is it's for people who are obviously so much of a moron that they can't see a puddle.
Yeah, exactly. Well, then again, I'd be lying if I said I'd never fallen out of the car into one.
True. I mean, they're mainly fitted to Audis, so...
well, yeah. Although, don't you... As a little snippet of our hopeful adventure that we get to go on one day about stereotypes, don't you think Vauxhall drivers are the new BMW drivers?
they're just an angrier breed, I think.
Yeah, it's always a clapped out insignia with an Enterprise logo
60
on it.
plate insignia.
Yeah, black one, CDTI with the 15-inch wheels on it and the monster truck tyres on it, and it's a fleet car.
John Cleland's driving style.
With Tiffany Dell in the back shouting, "You don't need to use the clutch on the way up or use the clutch on the way down." Just ragging it with diesel smoke everywhere. Anyway, right now we've got a minute and a half left of this race. Jacob Toft is nearly 10 seconds out in front. This boy needs to take a break, but honestly, this is what I don't want to say come to expect from Jacob, but he just continues to impress us, doesn't he? It doesn't get boring. It really doesn't get boring, because the way he goes about these performances and how cleanly he does it is just insane, isn't it?
It is. It is remarkably impressive to watch, and I do believe that Jacob should be looking at taking part in some properly top level. Of course, I believe there's going to be a Porsche Carrera Cup UK Sim Series again. I think he should have a go at that, because I think he'd do very well. Because he's such a class act, so quick and so consistent, and he's absolutely dominated tonight. Remember, if you're just joining us, he started from 20th on the grid. Won the heat, started from 20th in the feature, and it's going to be another double. Remarkably impressive, and this does put him in a really strong position for Monza in 2 weeks' time. And the thing is, as we know, Chaz, with the draft at Monza, it'll be packed racing, and you want to leave as little to chance as possible. So to get these points on the board now is very important.
It really is, and at the end of the day, Jacob's one of those drivers that will just know the scenario. He'll picture every single thing going on around him, and he'll be able to break away from a pack, and he'll be able to just get out of that slipstream. And once he's done that, he's gone. The way he manages the car mid-corner. The Lesmos are going to be an important part of the circuit, I feel, as well, because they're quite high-speed sections where you really need to be committed and throw the car in and carry the momentum. And I think that's where Jacob might have the edge over the other drivers on the circuit. But anyway, we need to concentrate on the now, because Jacob Toft is making his way into the chicane for the final time, and he's going to climb up over the hill and take an absolutely phenomenal victory once again. This boy's on his way to clinch the title. Jacob Toft takes the win at Road Atlanta. Austin Greatorex does a wonderful job to come home in second place in that one to minimise the damage, and Stephen Haley just grabs a podium at the end from Dan Bathy. Great battle between those guys. Peter O'Connor wins in the AM class ahead of Rob Sharp. James Cummings is 7th overall, and Byron Crawford rounds out your AM podium.
What a performance there from Austin Greatorex as well, to climb all the way from would be from 18th, from the ninth row on the grid, get my words out, to second position, to avoid all the potential pitfalls once again. Austin, now Austin is kind of putting himself in the position of a Johnny Ray, as Christian. Oh, he's had enough.
Yeah, he's decided he's done with that one.
But yes, I mean, this happened in the World Superbike Championship where a few years ago, where Alvaro Bautista won, I think, the first 11 races of the year.
Wow.
And Jonathan Ray finished second 11 times in a row.
Oh.
And that spot, and then he went on to win the championship. Now, Austin Greatorex is it doesn't matter by how much you win or lose by, it's the position you finish on the grid. And in second position there, very, very, very important for the run into Monza in 2 weeks' time.
Was indeed, and I cannot wait to get to Monza and see exactly how that goes. But for now, we look at the results, and it is 11.3 seconds to the good. Jacob Toft takes another win. Austin Greatorex finishes a great second place, just ahead of Stephen Haley. Then it's Dan Bathy and Peter O'Connor, who wins the AM category tonight. Well done to Peter. Rob Sharp just behind him, 1.2 seconds back. James Cummings was 7th, with Byron Crawford in 8th. Then it's Carl Sharkey and Tom Slater rounding out your top 10. Amrik Sashdev and Gary Tall are 11th and 12th. Then it's Mark Johnson in the AM class ahead of David Ward and Paul Rieger. Following him was Stuart Clark. Great recovery, to be fair, by Stuart Clark after a torrid start to his night. Oliver Carwood in 17th. Christian Zaruta will hate that 18th place, and as we saw there, he wasn't too pleased with it come the race end. Stephen Kershaw was 19th ahead of Paul Goffin. Then it's Johnny Elia just outside the top 20 with Mark Bowe 22nd. Ryan Penny and João Estevez were 23rd and 24th, ahead of Heinz Meyer, Josh Bailey, Andrew Soper and Fausto Pinto, with Andrew Marston, the last car, on the lead lap. Those that were one lap down are Gregory Buttsworth and Danny Jones. Chris Byron was 2 laps down, and then the drivers that didn't finish the race are Luke Holroyd, Ross Dunstan and Mark Baxter Jones. A real surprise there by some of those guys further back, Peter. But another wonderfully dramatic evening, plenty of fun to watch. But Jacob Toft, once again, just completely decimates it.
Yeah, he really does, doesn't he? And it made him had to come through some serious opposition. I mean, particularly, getting the move done on Carl Sharkey. He could have panicked there. He could have tried to force the move, but he knew what he was up against and just picked his moment very carefully with each and every car he went by. A properly inspired drive, but equally so, Austin Greatorex is making it really, really difficult for Jacob. He might not be battling him, tooth and nail on the track. There's definitely a slight pace difference, but that doesn't matter. If you're only one place behind, there's a negligible points difference. So that puts Austin right in the heat of the battle for the championship fight in Monza. And as we said, with it being pack racing, with it being a real draft circuit, anything can happen. So we're in for a real thriller. They're definitely the most exciting championship showdown we've had in the history of PCGB sim racing.
Certainly is as well. Just waiting for some of the guys to come in to have a quick chat with us. We may get a couple of interviews, we may not at this point of the evening, but I mean, this circuit, to be fair, Peter, has always been an entertaining one for us. We've had fantastic races here since the very first season of the championship, and we also had the Intercontinental Sim Racing Challenge as well between Porsche Club of Great Britain and Porsche Club of the United States, which was a lot of fun for these drivers. But there's a few circuits that we always go to on these calendars that are fantastically fun, but to be honest, I don't remember the last time we raced these at Monza.
Oh, you're testing me now. I'm sure we have. I think we have once at Monza, but the speed, of course, of this new 992 car will be a kind of step above as well, and they get a really good slipstream effect as well. So yeah, it's going to be really, really fun to see how that one plays out.
Yeah, it'll be an absolutely wonderful event, but with 2 weeks until then, we best speak to some of our drivers and see what they thought of the evening. The first of which is Stephen Haley, who ended up coming home 3rd place overall in that one. Stephen, you always had a lot of cars around you, but some of the drivers, like yourself in the field there, were a bit under the radar at points, but it worked out for you. How did that feel?
That was hard work. I've got to say, very, very much hard work. I've not really done a great deal of running on this circuit, believe it or not, but it was enjoyable, and racing with some of the guys that we race with is absolutely amazing. There's no quarters given, but it's all nice and clean for the most part.
Yeah, and it's a very difficult track to get right, like you say. I mean, there's a lot of flowing corners where you have to nail the line, carry the right amount of pace so it throws you into the next corner correctly. Did you find that a lot of drivers were just making little mistakes here and there that you could capitalise on, or was it just a sort of case of adapting and just taking a bit of a reserved approach to your race?
I weren't quite sure. Obviously, the other guys, obviously the faster guys coming through on the last race, Austin and Jacob, I kind of had to let them go because I knew they were a damn sight quicker than me. But Dan did a good job, and the rest of the guys who were spent a good half of the race, 3/4 of the race in 1, 2, and 3, they did a top job. But I think when they started tripping over each other, it's I suppose it makes it a little bit easier for us.
Well, yeah, that's true. Attrition is always a racing driver's best friend, as long as it's not you that's suffering from said attrition. But either way, it's been a very fascinating championship so far this season. One more race meeting to go at Monza. Do you think it's going to be a lot of fun there? Because it's a hell of a circuit, isn't it?
I think Monza, first thing that springs to mind with Monza is T1, but I'm sure that we'll all be able to manage to keep it all nice and clean and keep it on the direction on the black stuff. Should be a really good race, hellishly fast track, so look forward to that.
And before we let you go tonight, is there anybody that you'd like to give a quick shout out to while we've got you?
Yep, my wife Charlotte, who's away at her sister's at the moment, and Caroline, Lee, and Shirl.
Cracking stuff. Great to speak to you as always, Stephen. Thank you very much for your time. Well done on your result, and we will see you at Monza, buddy.
Cheers, Chaz. Catch you later, mate.
Cheers. Well, there we go. Stephen Haley, a driver that, like I said there, has been quite under the radar at certain points of the evening. Someone that certainly wasn't under the radar tonight. Started the feature race from pole position, led it for a long time, and then still grabbed the win in the AM class was Peter O'Connor. Peter, that was a hell of a night for yourself. You were always at the sharp end of that one. How do you feel?
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, it was good fun, that. Yeah, certainly blew the cobwebs away, yeah.
You can say that again, mate. They don't stick to metallic paint very well. I think that's why. But
no.
it's one. I mean, it's Peter's, one of Peter's very favourite circuits, of course, with the links to the likes of Petit Le Mans and many other wonderful events that go on at this fantastic place. But what did you make of driving this car around this circuit this evening? Was it a massive challenge, or did you get into a nice rhythm with it?
It was the feature race certainly got into a more of a rhythm. The first practice session, I spent 4 laps getting a black flag for coming out of the pits. I thought, this isn't a good way to start the evening, is it?
Oh, heck.
But after then, no, it was good fun. Didn't have the pace really right at the sharp end, but bit of karting tactics from years ago. If you get out the front, then you just got to bang the same lap in, right?
Well, that's it. Yeah. Nice and consistent from that point onwards. Obviously, a lot of points in terms of the AM Championship. It may not be something that's right around the corner for you, but in terms of Monza, is it something that you're looking forward to round out the season?
Yeah, definitely. I did the Porsche series last year at Monza in like another champ, and I was much better at Monza, to be honest. So I better get some practice in, right? So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
Good stuff. Well, we hope it goes well for you, Peter. Hopefully as well as
Thanks
tonight went as well. Anyone you want to give a quick shout out to?
No, just the organisers really. A lot of hard work goes into it, and literally I just rock up after a day at work and turn on my sim. That I make it, like it's easy work, but there's a lot of hard work goes into it. You guys included. So thank you a lot for that. Yeah.
Not a problem at all, Peter. Thank you for your kind words,
Cool.
buddy. Have a great evening. We'll see you
Have
at
a nice
Monza.
evening. You too.
Cheers.
See ya.
Well, there we go. Peter O'Connor, very enthusiastic after his win there. Really enjoyed that one. And that's the thing. It's a very, very rewarding circuit to drive when you get it right, isn't it, Peter? Especially when you come away unscathed with a result.
Absolutely, yeah. I think there is a great amount of satisfaction from getting a result at Road Atlanta, and I think that's why so many drivers just love it, because it's a proper thrill ride, and you have to pick your moments of where to overtake. So yeah, it's really nice to hear that Peter's enjoyed his evening and has survived the Beast of Brazelton.
The Beast of Brazelton. I quite enjoyed the nickname for that. That's certainly going to be one that we have moving forward. We also have Gregory Buttsworth joining us in the box. Greg, it's not an easy car track combo to get used to, this one. How did you find your evening?
In the end, okay. I got bombed out of the first race, and then got back and got into the Consolation and into the final. So in the end, I was quite good. We had some nice little races at the back of the track for a change, which was good. It was clean racing.
I was going to say there was a few of the pro drivers had a bit of issues and other bits and bobs thrown their way over the course of the night. So you got to mix it with some of them guys as the night went on. We've actually got slow-mo footage right now of you fighting with Christian Saruta. Does it help you guys a little bit further down the order when you have drivers like that around you, or do you see them as these big scary lunatics that try and chuck everyone out of the way?
There's a few of the lunatics, but in general, now that we're getting a little bit quicker and with a lot more experience, and it's good to do a bit of racing, that close combat is quite good, and to hold people off even for a lap or two, it's great experience to race with these guys that are quicker and be able to hold on to them and stay with them in the racing. It's good fun.
And it's enjoyable for us to... Well, that's it. I mean, it's the development. You know, Peter and I love watching it from you guys season on season, where drivers develop and just find this pace at certain circuits, and they just start to get more consistent, more quick lap after lap, and we really, really enjoy watching it. You know, you guys are the backbone of the series that really make it what it is. So obviously we congratulate you on that, and want to ask as well, with Monza coming up, is that what you'd see as a great place to round out the season?
It's a lovely circuit. I need to put some practice in on it. It's all a learning curve, so they're all new circuits. So just take it on the chin and do our best.
Well,
looking forward to it. It's been a great season. I've scored points this year, and I'm happy.
Well, that's the best way to be, mate, and it's great to hear that you're enjoying it as well. Is there anyone you'd like to give a quick shout out to before you go?
Well, I think just the guys that just didn't quite make it into the final tonight. There was a few of us on the edge, and we were trying. But yeah, next time, guys, keep the practice up, and we'll be there. And you too, because the broadcasting and the work everybody puts in behind the scenes is amazing. The broadcasting is great, and the organisers fantastic. And hats off to you all. I don't know how you did it. It's brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Greg. Nicely said, buddy. And we look forward to seeing you at Monza. Have a great evening, mate.
See you later. Bye.
Cheers. Gregory Buttsworth there, lovely bloke as well, and I mean it, Peter, we have a lot of these drivers that they don't always get into the feature race at the end of the night, but they turn up week after week and they push as hard as they can, and they just get out there because they love doing it, don't they? It's great to see.
Yeah, this is a club championship through and through. We have some fantastic drivers at the front, and we've got great spirit as well up and down the grid, and that's why the championship is as popular as it is. But speaking of the top two drivers, Chaz, I mean, we've got our race winner. I think we should have a wee chat with our race winner, because a drive like that cannot go unnoticed.
It certainly can't. Jacob joins us once again in the box with good reason. Another very, very, what looked like a straightforward evening for you, Jacob. I mean, it probably wasn't from where you were sat, but tell us how it felt from where you were.
Well, I messed up. I didn't help myself. I messed up the start in the heat race. Luckily, I was able to pass Christian. We had a nice little battle on the back straight. And then the feature was the usual. Try not to hit anyone. Just be as clean as possible. Take my time, and pray that I make it through the field or as far as possible without any damage.
Now, in that heat race as well, where you did get past Christian, you all seemed to be on quite even pace for the opening few laps, and then it was almost like somebody stuck a rocket in the back of your car. You just all of a sudden started to disappear off up the road. Was that a conscious decision or something you changed, or did the other guys drop off? What was going on there?
No, I was just building up the pace really, because I didn't want to spin, because driving in qualifying, normally I treat those qualifying in the race very differently. So I just wanted to take my time, especially here. Whereas if you hit a bump incorrectly, then you're spinning and you're dropping down the order. So it was high risk, and I decided to take my time.
Well, it certainly worked out for you once again, mate. And I mean, another absolute bucket load of positions, 19 gained in that final race there. Are there any final thoughts from you just going towards Monza, towards the end of the season? Anything that's on your mind about that one, or are you remaining calm?
Excited. I think it should be a really good race, especially between myself, Austin, and Christian. I thought Road Atlanta would have some good racing, and Monza's definitely going to have even better racing. As long as the chicanes are clean on the first lap, it should be hard to go wrong. So fingers crossed that won't happen, and we can have some good races to finish out the championship.
Now, your biggest fan in the YouTube chat as well, Ryan Parkins, is asking about the 3 wide for the lead, because you really did squeeze it through the middle of that gap there. Was that were you holding your breath during that one?
Yeah, I had withdrawal symptoms basically as soon as I got 3 wide around the middle. I saw Dan go wide going into the corner, going onto the back straight, and I thought, oh, maybe Peter's going to get him here, or I can try and get one of them. And then they were both slow. I think Peter had to check up, and then Peter moved over. I saw a gap, and I thought, oh, should I go for it? I took it, and I was scared, to say the least.
Well, you made it work, mate, and it was great to watch. Any final questions from you, Peter?
Can I have some tips?
Yeah, sure. I'll write a book.
I think you should.
Yes,
Yes.
same. Honestly, how to manage a sim race 101 with Jacob Toft, because without blowing too much smoke up your backside, you have nailed it this year, and we look forward to seeing how it goes at Monza. Is there anyone you'd like to give a quick shout out to before you go, mate?
You two, obviously, for doing an amazing job as always.
Thank you.
Everyone for having a clean race, and the organisers for doing such a good job, getting all the penalties and everything done and organised, especially over Christmas and New Year.
Nicely said, mate. Well, great to speak to you as always, Jacob. Well done on another mega result, and we look forward to seeing how you wrap it up at Monza with the other guys.
Nice, thank you guys. I'm waiting for the How to Commentate 101 from both of you. That'd be a great
Peter
book.
and I wrote a book. It'd be an absolute nightmare to read. It'd just be tangents and side stories everywhere. You'd never finish
Yeah,
it.
the puns.
Published in crayon.
Yeah, it would
A
be.
picture book.
Oh, well, thank you very much for your time, Jacob. We'll see you again soon, mate.
Thank you.
Now, to be fair, Peter, I don't think anyone should take commentating tips from me. I'm not sure.
or me.
Either way, another night finishes itself, and what a fantastic night we've had. Really sets us up for an absolute blinder at Monza, doesn't it?
It does. Yes, it really does. And the points are more than close enough that it only takes the slightest slip from any driver, and that's the job done. So yeah, I can't wait. It's this is what we've been building to for 4 seasons, a proper showdown. Cannot wait.
It's indeed. Well, thank you everybody for watching. Thank you, of course, to my wonderful co-commentator Peter MacKay. We always have a hell of a lot of fun. Thanks to the organisers, the drivers, everybody else involved as well for making this series what it is. And we will see you in 2 weeks' time for the finale of Season 4 of the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Series. My name's Chaz Draycott. I've been working today with Peter MacKay and Simracersworld TV. We'll see you again in 2 weeks. Good night.